I feel like a burp is coming on. Oh, hey there.
Oh, hey there.
Man. Come on, I just started.
Oh, man, that was like... I think your painting got a little excited. There was like,
gosh.
Or just startled. Something.
Well, it startled me. Jeez Louise.
Oh, dear.
Am I really that animated?
Sometimes.
History just excites me.
It's a passion. He's looking at you funny. Like,
I know.
What's going on?
I think we're going to put it next to you next time.
That's fine. I'd say throw it over here, but I know something will get knocked over if that's the case.
Yeah, we have precious beer.
Well, luckily, those aren't opened yet.
Yes.
But anyways, we are the History
Yes,
Buffoons.
we're the History Buffoons.
I'm Bradley.
I'm Kate.
And welcome to another episode.
Yeah, and this is our unfinished painting.
Oh, so...
I didn't realize that I forgot the blue
around the microphone.
Around the microphone. So now...
Now it's bothering her. And me, more or less, but...
Yeah, so now I gotta fix it.
The funny thing is, it didn't bother me until Kate noticed it and brought it up to me, and she's like, I forgot the blue. I'm like, oh, shit, you did. Now that's all I can see is, like, the non-blue.
The non-blue.
So we might have a little updated version of that in the near future.
Oh, my burp is so close.
I know. I can't wait for it to come out so I can add it to the burp track.
Oh, it's so close. It's just sitting there.
It's just all...
Of course, that could be my acid reflux.
I mean, that's very possible, too.
I used to get, like, heart palpitations that would, like, shock me.
Yeah.
I think it was, like, stress-induced or anxiety-induced.
I've got that before, yeah.
And the doctors are like, you're not having heart palpitations, it's acid reflux. I'm like, okay. And so I've been on... I thought I moved. So I've been on acid reducer ever since, and I'm out of it for like the last 3 days. And
yeah, you had said
I can tell.
You tried to find it, and they only had the name brand super expensive stuff. And
I'm not gonna buy.
No, fuck that.
I'll have acid reflux. It feels like a burp.
I'm just waiting for it to come out during this episode.
I know.
I hope it's epic because this build-up is leading towards it, and it's probably going to be super disappointing.
I know. I shouldn't have said anything.
So, what do we got to drink today, Kate?
We have Pig Farmer
by
Duisterbecks.
Duisterbecks, yes.
Oh, was that right?
Not Duisterbecks, but yes.
Can you tell why I would say
no, I
Deutschland, Duisterbecks. It's spelled D-U-E-S.
I get D-U-S?
D-U-E-S. I said D-U-E-S. Like Deutschland.
I took you here once.
Yes.
I used to sell this beer.
The bar looks like this.
Pretty much,
The bar is pretty much the barn.
It's in an old barn, yeah. No, they got a cool little thing going on over there.
Yeah.
I really like it, and I like a lot of their beers.
Yeah, okay, so where's this at?
Elkhorn,
Wisconsin. And this is a pale ale.
Yeah. Holy balls. All of a sudden I yawned.
Not allowed.
Sorry. I need a beer.
Let's fix that right now.
I am. That was elongated. Cheers.
Cheers.
It's not bad. What do you think, not being a huge pale ale person, a little on the lighter side of a pale ale? So I kind of thought you might like that. Not mind that one. Is what I meant to say.
I like that.
Farm fresh beer.
What would you feel about wine on a podcast instead of beer next time?
I'd be fine with it.
Yeah, you like wine?
I don't go out of my way to ever drink it. Typically, when it comes to wine, I'm usually on the sweeter side of wines.
Like Moscato.
Yeah, stuff like that, which is like the real wine enthusiast, not wine. Like my dad was. Yeah, it basically
like
is.
I could glug, 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 and that's why I don't buy it, because I can glug, glug, glug. Nobody wants to see that.
But my dad was huge into wine, and...
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. He was on like an order... what the fuck? Not like
a subscription.
Basically,
yeah, a wine subscription.
Not, yeah. He would get random boxes with random varieties in it and whatever.
That's
from,
cool.
all over from Napa Valley, which is huge in wine, and across the country and whatever.
Right.
He loved, really.
Did you hear it? Because I heard it.
I heard it.
What did it say?
I don't know. I can't read that far.
Potential computer difficulties.
Well, we might as well get it out of the way now. Hold, please. And we're back. All right. Anyway, so my dad was really big into wine. He really liked reds. He would drink white wines, but he was a big fan of reds. And my problem with reds is 99% of them, you drink room temperature. Yeah. I don't like room temperature beverages. I don't like warm beverages.
Yeah.
So I like cold. There used to be this restaurant we would go to that we've been going to since I was little. It's unfortunately closed now. They used to have really good gnocchis with meat sauce, but it's called Albanese's in Brookfield. They would serve their house red, and it would be chilled, and I like that. That was good. Yeah. So you can chill a red.
I do chill my reds.
Yeah. I can't not.
Yeah.
I'm like
this is super cold right now.
I know, it's really good. Let me reach my beer.
My favorite is Pinot Grigio.
Okay.
And I like that it's more of a sipper for me versus like the Moscato.
Where it's Glug Glug 3000? Yeah. Yeah. That's understandable.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe we'll do that at some point.
Yeah, we like to mix it up. We throw a cocktail in here once in a while and whatever. So, yeah, we'll change it.
Change it.
Ooh, I have a pen in my shirt. I was editing earlier and I was using it. So
that's funny. You don't need a pen to edit on the computer. And insert cricket sounds here. I have a question for you.
Do you really? I feel like it's been a minute.
I know. It's because most of our stuff has kind of been in depth recently. A little bit longer.
Yeah, I would certainly say that's true.
Yeah, so this one I think we could shoot the shit a little bit. Did you ever grow up writing in a diary or journal or anything like in full, like this is just for me, I want to lock on this thing?
No. I think I've attempted, I would say multiple times throughout my life.
Yeah.
The most recent one was probably 20 years ago. As a younger person, maybe a couple times. I couldn't tell you when or whatever. Yeah. I'm sure they haven't survived moves and stuff, but was never really a dear journal.
Right.
Today I had a thought. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
It just never was my thing. So what about you?
Yeah, same. I probably started quite a few and just, no, I'm not a writer.
And it's not even so much not being a writer, which I am not by any stretch. I don't have that commitment, discipline to do that every day. I know for some people it's a great thing. Mm-hmm. Not for me.
Yeah.
So, is what it is.
Yeah. That did not come from me.
That was so weird. That came from that was like an elongated one.
Yeah.
It was just at the end.
But it was like a trail of...
Yeah, I know. It was really weird.
Beer burp coming up. And it took so long to come out. Mine actually went down a little bit.
Oh, man.
It was probably acid reflux.
I'm so looking forward to hearing that one.
I'll give you one later.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. You're having bubbles, so we'll get one in this podcast. But anyway, so no, I never really did that. That wasn't my thing.
Okay, so we are going to talk about the Yugoslav War.
Okay.
Do you know of it?
I mean, I think I might have heard of it. I couldn't tell you a damn thing about it.
It happened in the early 90s, and...
That's probably why I heard about it, because I was alive, so...
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So, the country kind of went into, one of the biggest breakups ever. So Yugoslavia was like this big united but kind of dysfunctional family of nations.
Okay.
Yugoslavia was a federation, and it consisted of 6 republics. So it was Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Herzegovina?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Herzegovina. How'd you know that?
Because Bosnia and Herzegovina is like aren't they like one single place now?
Yes, it's one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's Croatia and Macedonia, Montenegro, Serbia, and Slovenia.
I didn't realize those were all under Yugoslavia. I guess I never knew that. Okay.
Yes.
Huh.
In addition,
Yeah.
there were 2 additional provinces under the Republic of Serbia.
Oh.
So it's kind of like Wisconsin in United States. There's Kosovo and Vojvodina.
I haven't heard of that one. I've heard of Kosovo, though. Okay.
But they were provinces in Serbia. Okay,
Gotcha.
so I am going to talk a little bit about Bosnia and
Herzegovina?
Yeah, maybe I'm just going to look at you to say that.
And point.
Herzegovina. Because that's kind of where our story takes place.
Okay.
Most of the story. So since the 15th century, both regions were governed together under the Ottoman Empire and then later the Austro-Hungarian empires. And so
they've been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And they shared borders and cultures and administration for a long time.
Okay.
And then as part of the Yugoslav Republic, in 1945, leader Josip Broz Tito lumped Bosnia and
Herzegovina.
Love it.
That's awesome.
Into one of the 6 socialist republics. Okay. And it kind of cemented their political unity.
So did they basically have a government like the USSR in a way? Like socialist, all that stuff? Is that kind of what their grouping was?
Sure.
Okay. And continue.
Okay.
Herzegovina.
Yeah.
Sorry,
good job.
you didn't point, my bad.
So in the middle of this chaos, there's actually a young girl named Zlata Filipović.
Okay.
And she and her family live in Sarajevo, Bosnia.
Sarajevo?
Yeah, Sarajevo. Do you want to do this? Because dang, Mr. Pronunciation over here.
I'm not that good.
Okay, Sarajevo.
Sarajevo? Sarajevo?
Yes.
I mean, that's what you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So you know of it.
I've heard of it, yeah. Because the Trans-Siberian Orchestra has a song called like, oh, what the fuck's the title? Something Sarajevo or whatever.
Oh.
Something like that. I'm trying to blank on the full title of this song. Fuck. Now I feel stupid that I can't remember. Because I like Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Well, Zlata kept a diary during the Bosnian War.
Okay.
And she was kind of called the Anne Frank of Sarajevo.
Sarajevo?
Sarajevo.
She was the Anne Frank of Sarajevo?
Yeah, so
she hid in an attic?
A basement.
Oh, I mean...
Zlata wrote about siege life, sniper fire, how she lost friends, all while still worrying about doing homework and...
Isn't that wild?
Trying to listen to pop music and... Oh, yeah.
What was her favorite band?
She enjoyed Michael Jackson and Guns N' Roses.
Oh, that's quite a nice variety. I like it.
So, a little bit of historical background on the breakup of Yugoslavia. Kind of a crash course, if you will.
Yes.
Probably crash into this.
What?
You'll probably crash and burn. Idiom. So,
Jesus Christ. Idiom.
Yugoslavia was once a united country.
Okay.
And it fell apart in the early 90s. So, in the 1980s, Tito, Joseph Broz Tito, he ends up dying. And with him, so does the glue that held everybody together.
So what was so important about him that he held everything together? Like, was he the ruler of Yugoslavia?
Yeah, he was the leader.
So what did he have a specific position, like president? I mean, what position did he hold that he was the leader?
I don't think that I wrote down specifically what his title was, but he was like in charge of Yugoslavia and all the republics for like quite a while.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And it's all multi-ethnic groups in Yugoslavia.
Sure.
So as soon as he's gone, the kids, aka the nationalist politicians and all that, they kind of start acting out.
Okay.
So over the 1980s, there's an economic crisis and the resurgent nationalism spread.
Hey, I need to check something.
Okay.
There it is. It has surfaced. Unleash the Kraken. Wow. That was... I would say that was epic, and I would be right. Holy shit. So sorry about that little break. I had to check something. Check a setting. And then we got graced by a delicious burp from Kate over there. So
okay.
Anywho. Sorry, yes.
So leaders from Serbia pushed their own agendas.
Well, most do.
And Tito just kind of suppressed all that.
Okay.
So he was kind of able to keep them all like tolerable of each other.
Right.
So it was kind of like a decades-long family feud that just kind of started...
Family feud.
Kind of breaking up at the dinner table, during Thanksgiving when everybody kind of comes... Yeah.
Do you think anyone flipped the plates off? Like, fuck this? No, just, anyways.
Something.
Okay.
I'm going to take the turkey with me.
Yeah. I want a turkey leg.
In 1991, Yugoslavia's republics are starting to want a separation.
Okay.
In June of 91, Slovenia and Croatia declare independence.
Oh.
Slovenia's separation is kind of a brief little battle.
Okay.
It was a 10-day little battle by the Yugoslav People's Army.
Okay.
Who had moved in to secure border posts.
Oh.
And they mostly fought like light infantry type of encounters.
So it wasn't like full-on blown battles, but there was still conflict nonetheless.
There was conflict, yeah. But then there was a ceasefire, and the Yugoslav People's Army withdrew, and Slovenia maintained their declaration of independence.
Gotcha, okay.
Croatia's declaration was a little bit more messy. War erupted with the Yugoslav army, which was largely Serb-led.
Okay.
And local Serb forces.
Okay.
Serbs against not even against Serbs. I think kind of all the Serbs like kind of banded together against the Croatians.
Oh, gotcha.
I think that's how it was.
Okay.
And I'll tell you a little bit more about that.
Gotcha.
In 1992, by April of 92, Bosnia and
Herzegovina
were mostly ethnically mixed republic. There were Muslim Bosniaks, there were Orthodox Serbs, there were Catholic Croats.
Croats? So Croatians?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so Bosnia and
Herzegovina? They
declare independence as well.
Oh, wow.
So Bosnia becomes the main battlefield of the Yugoslav wars.
Really? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Bosnian Serb forces, backed by Serbia's national leadership, opposed the independence and lay siege to Sarajevo. So the Bosniak Muslims and the Bosnian Croats, the forces initially fight the Serbs, and at one tragic point they were actually like fighting each other, the Muslims and the Croats, and then they're like, this is stupid. So then they started
stupid.
Yeah, so then they're like, let's band together again. It was all like Game of Thrones shit.
I never knew Croatians were called Croats. I never heard that before.
Yeah.
That's different.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the siege of Sarajevo.
You're getting there. Sarajevo, yeah.
In April 1992, Bosnia's capital, which is Sarajevo.
And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Trans-Siberian Orchestra song is Christmas Eve, Sarajevo.
Oh.
So
very nice.
Yeah.
Well, Sarajevo was home of the 1984. Did I not? Is that right?
That was close.
They had the 1984 Winter Olympics there.
Oh, did they?
Yes.
I wouldn't have. I'm not old enough to. I wasn't old enough to remember that today. So yeah. Okay.
So Sarajevo.
Close. You're getting there.
What is it?
Sarajevo.
That's what it said. Sarajevo. Stop it.
That burp made me yawn. How is that possible? There it is. Jesus Christ.
So Sarajevo becomes under siege by the Bosnian Serbs.
Okay.
Bosnian Serbs are worried that they would be vulnerable as an ethnic minority in a Bosniak-dominated country.
Okay.
So many preferred staying in a Serb-led Yugoslavia.
Oh.
So if you start breaking apart Yugoslavia, there's less and less majority Serbs.
Right. No, it makes sense.
Okay. So that's why all the Serbs are like trying to band together and they don't want this independence.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
They don't want to be the minority.
Okay.
So this siege will last almost 4 years, and it's the longest siege of a capital city in modern history.
4 years? Holy crap. That's a long fucking time to siege a city.
So between 93 and 94, war rages on throughout Bosnia. Sarajevo's people endure daily shellings.
Fuck.
And the notorious like sniper alley where stepping out for bread even could be lethal.
Right.
International peacekeepers from the UN showed up wearing like blue helmets and good intentions, but with orders not to shoot.
Okay.
So didn't do anything.
What was the point?
Didn't do anything.
No.
It really didn't.
I mean, what would have been the point
They're like,
for them
here's
to do that?
some food rations.
Namaste.
Stop shooting.
Yeah. Don't be cruel
They're
to each other.
We're not going to listen to you.
It's like, no, we're going to keep doing what we've been doing. I mean, I get their intentions. They want peaceful, whatever, but what were they really going to accomplish by just, they got them some food, but still. Let's come back.
Hiccup. 1995.
Right. Yes.
The world's patience was finally televised atrocities.
What word is that?
Atrocities.
There it is.
Atrocities in the cities. In July of 1995, Bosnian Serb forces overrun the UN.
Okay.
And there is a massacre of over 7,000 Bosniak men and boys.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and not long after, Serb forces bombed Sarajevo. Yep. And finally, NATO decides to drop the paperwork and pick up the peace. And it launches airstrikes against Bosnian Serb positions in August of 95.
God damn.
Combined with Bosniak Croat ground offensives, this pressure kind of weans the leaders into peace talks. Okay. In December of 95, the parties finally signed the Dayton Peace Accords. Okay. Bosnia is split into two semi-autonomous entities, a Bosniak Croat Federation and a Serb Republic.
Okay.
And the war in Bosnia at this time is officially over. 100,000 people are killed.
God damn.
40% of them are civilians.
Wow. That's really sad.
2 million plus people are displaced.
Well, sure. That makes sense.
Between 6,000 and 11,000 people, 6,000 and 11,000 people of the dead were children.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
That's really always depressing to hear because they obviously didn't have a choice or anything. No. So, wow.
No. So that kind of brings me to this young girl.
Yeah. What's her name again? Sorry.
Zlata.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So like I said, Sarajevo was kind of a melting pot of all these ethnicities. So there's the Bosniaks and the Serbs and Croats, and they all lived together somewhat peacefully.
Right.
So Zlata was born on December 3rd, 1980.
Okay, so she would have been 15 at this time?
So
roughly?
It actually starts, her diary starts when she's 11.
Oh, so she'd been writing for 4 years already. Okay,
yes,
gotcha.
Yes.
All right.
I wanted to give you a background on the war
gotcha.
Before introducing her.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's there at the start of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So she was a happy girl, middle-class childhood. Her father was a lawyer. Her mother was a chemist. She loved Michael Jackson, Guns N' Roses.
Yep.
Their family took a ton of vacations up in the mountains. Mm-hmm. And at this time, in September of 91, she was in 5th grade.
Okay.
And at that point, she received this little blank diary.
Aw.
She was inspired by the Diary of Anne Frank.
Sure.
She did read that. And she decided to name her diary Mimi.
Oh, Mimi?
Mimi.
Mimi?
Mimmy. Mimi.
Oh, okay.
And actually, it was after her pet goldfish that had passed. Mimi.
Is it common to name your diary? Because you're like writing to it, basically?
Yeah.
You're almost having a conversation through words.
And she would always say, "Dear Mimi," and she would end with, "Yours, Zlata."
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess I never really knew that. There is one. Yeah. Ooh. Nice.
So her first entries were about piano lessons and birthday parties and friends at school. I just closed down my... How did that happen?
I have no idea.
She would say things like, quote, "I'm watching the American Top 20 on MTV. I don't remember a thing. Who's in what place? I feel great because I've just eaten a 4 Seasons pizza with ham, cheese, ketchup, and mushrooms. It was yummy. Maybe that's why I didn't remember who took what place. I was too busy enjoying my pizza." End quote.
Wow, okay.
In October, she said, quote, "Some reservists from Montenegro have entered Herzegovina.
Herzegovina, yeah.
Why? For what? Politics, it seems, but I don't understand politics.
Right.
After Slovenia and Croatia, are the winds of war now blowing toward Bosnia-Herzegovina? No, that's impossible." End quote.
Or Herzegovina, but yeah.
That's the one.
It's Herzegovia.
Barricades start to form around the city.
Oh boy.
Bread is becoming rare. People are getting scared.
Right. Rightly so.
Between April 5th and April 6th in 1992,
okay,
violence erupted.
Oh boy.
There was a peaceful anti-war protest in Sarajevo,
okay,
which was shattered by gunfire.
And well done on saying it properly.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And shortly after, Serb national forces began blockading the city.
Okay.
And suddenly, Sarajevo was encircled by artillery on the hills. So they're kind of in a valley.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, they're just surrounding them.
That sucks.
The siege of Sarajevo began, and overnight the city's 380,000 residents
That's a lot.
found themselves cut off from the world.
Okay.
Zlata says, quote, "When the war started, I thought the fighting was going to last about a month." And this was after the fact that she's quoting this.
Sure. Makes sense.
But 1 month turned into many, and they got hit really hard.
Right.
As shells rained down on the daily, snipers were on every street.
Could you imagine? Jesus Christ.
And daily life became an everyday battle.
Well, right. I mean, just doing anything.
And Zlata and other children her age, they grew up fast. Reading this book, reading her diary, you can't imagine she's only 11.
Ah, I bet.
Just some of the things that she says, some of the words that she uses, it's like...
Wait a minute, what?
Are you sure you're not 15, 16?
Or even older or something? Oh, Jesus.
You're 11?
Well, war makes you grow up fast.
Yeah.
I mean, look at all the... You like World War II, as we've stated many times. Look at all the young men who went to war that weren't even technically old enough to go, but they lied just to do it. You know, they grew up real quick.
Yeah.
So.
They did.
Well, there's a line in that Sullivan song, too, where it's like, I'm going to butcher it right now, but like, overnight my buddies turned into men or whatever. Something like that. I don't remember exact line off the top of my head right now, but war will make you grow up fast.
Yes. So schools would close, and Zlata recalls that she actually only attended school about once every 3 days due to the fighting.
Wow.
And the rest of the time she would try to read books, practice piano. She would be huddled in her parents' cellar for days at a time because of the shelling.
So did she go down there just for safety purposes?
Yes.
So,
her family and the neighbors, they would all like huddle together. Don't you dare.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't you dare.
I'm not trying.
Drink more.
Okay. Cheers.
So, with schools closed, Zlata and other kids used the dim, echoey cellar for lessons by candlelight.
That's wild.
They tried to improvise games. They played cards as best they could. And Zlata often wrote in Mimi down there.
Right.
And the only time she felt calm enough to record her thoughts were between explosions.
Well, I mean, can you blame her?
No.
I don't know how you'd feel comfortable, like, you know, it's just, that's wild.
The cellar floor was concrete.
Okay.
The air was stale.
Stale air.
Water seeped in.
Yeah.
But they draped blankets amongst themselves. They shared canned food, and they huddled together for warmth.
Right.
They went through several winters.
Oh, that's crazy. That could not have been comfortable down there.
Several winters without electricity and heat and gas and...
Wow.
Yeah. Bread.
Nothing.
Yes.
Nothing of normal shit you should have, basically.
So, to tame her fear a little bit, Zlata nicknamed the booming shells Cico and Ceca.
Okay.
And she sometimes joked about them in her diary. But it was just kind of a way to remove the fear.
Lighten the mood.
Whatever, Cico and Ceca were actually animals of hers.
Oh, okay.
Cico, I think, was her bird, and Ceca was her cat, both which passed away during the war.
So she had a bird, a cat, and a goldfish?
Yes, the goldfish died before
I get that. But...
the war, but yes.
Right.
The cellar became... Wonderful. Applaud.
Thank you.
The cellar became both a prison and their refuge.
Mm-hmm.
It was their home for a while.
Well, yeah. You said there were, what, 3 winters? Several winters? Did you have a specific number?
So
4?
It started... so she started writing in, like, September of 91.
Yeah, that's when she was 11.
And the siege... And her birthday's December. So she was 12 then when the siege started in April of 92.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Delicious.
So, early on, Zlata gushed about slumber parties and favorite songs.
Right.
And then just like a few months later, the start of her journals were slaughter, massacre.
Oh, boy.
Horrors.
That's terrible.
Because of the violence around her.
Well, right.
At one point, she writes, "I just walked through my beautiful Sarajevo. It makes me so sad."
Right.
And it felt like her childhood was just put on hold during all of this.
100%. And rightly so, because you're trapped in a basement. Mm-hmm. All that, you can't do your normal stuff. Can't even go to school properly, or every third day or whatever it was. But yeah, no kidding.
So Zlata says, quote, a school girl without a school, without the fun and excitement of school, a child without games, without friends, without the sun, without birds, without nature, without fruit, without chocolate or sweets, with just a little powdered milk.
Oh, boy.
In short, a child without a childhood, a wartime child, end quote.
100% correct there. Damn.
Awful.
That is terrible.
Zlata describes living on humanitarian aid rations, like canned food.
Okay.
And occasionally they'd put a little bit of chocolate in there. But it was a little while before they were able to get some of these rations.
It reminds me of that book we both listened to, Tailspin, where they like everyone always took their chocolate out of the soldiers and stuff.
Yeah.
That's apparently a common practice.
Yes. They did have a little wooden stove.
Okay.
And they would like get to the point of having to like chop up all their furniture in order to produce heat.
Keep it going. Yeah. Gotcha.
So, the basements and the shelters were their homes, their playgrounds, their classrooms during all these years. Zlata's family did their best to kind of keep her in some type of routine.
Okay.
Her father would risk sniper fire to fetch water from the public pump. They would do that at least once a day. And then there was a point where I think he got a hernia. He was able to see a doctor somehow, and the doctor was like, you can't be lifting anything. So then it was on his wife to go and pick up all this water.
Okay.
But they would still have little birthday parties here and there.
Isn't that wild to think that people who are in that situation would still have birthday parties? I mean,
I'm wounded. I gotta stretch out my legs. I feel like we should name him.
What should we name him?
I don't know. We'll ask the public for some help.
Okay.
Name him.
Public help.
Okay, so a birthday party. There was a chocolate cake made from powdered eggs and powdered milk from the aid packages.
Okay.
They actually loved it because they weren't used to it at this point.
Well, at that point, it was something special.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. One entry in the diary describes the death of Zlata's friend, Nina. Sorry, he's not laughing at that. For those of you who are just listening and not watching.
Oh, good point. Sorry.
I thought my canvas was falling over again.
She had to give the quick side look to the buffoon's picture or painting. All right, so I'm sorry. Oh, that's so sad, Nina.
Nina was a classmate who used to play in the park with her.
Okay.
And one day she was just killed by shrapnel from a shell.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I'm assuming she was similar age.
Yes.
Okay.
Zlata pours her grief out onto her pages. She writes that the war is disgusting and laments that her own childhood is being stolen.
Okay.
But she also does express some hope that maybe tomorrow the war will end.
Wouldn't that be lovely?
In one interview after the fact, she said, quote, "The most important thing I learned is just to stay alive. You keep living day to day, looking for food and water, never knowing when you might have to run for your life,"
right.
End quote.
Wow. I couldn't imagine having to think that way at that age. It's just, I mean, she's only a year older than me. Younger than me, excuse me. So it's like I was right there with her, but in a completely different fucking situation, obviously, growing up in the States.
I know.
So I couldn't imagine being that age and having to think that way. That's just wild and sad that a kid who can't even grow up properly is doing that.
Yeah.
So, wow.
So the Yugoslav wars was a conflict where yesterday's next door neighbor could be today's mortal enemy.
Right.
It's purely ethnic identity, and it just a flip of a switch.
Which is too bad.
All of a sudden we're against each other.
Yeah.
Former friends found themselves divided by these stupid invisible lines that no one said, hey, you have to fight so-and-so. No, you don't. You don't have to. You're choosing to.
They were just basically told to, so.
One observer noted poisonous politics ended up, quoting, dividing friends, neighbors, and even families by their ethnic or religious affiliation, end quote.
Yeah.
In multi-ethnic Bosnia, countless mixed families were left torn. One cousin in a Bosnian army, another cousin in the Serb army, literally shooting at each other.
Isn't that wild?
It's
all
crazy.
Because, you were basically thought you had to, but you really didn't. Mm-mm. Not even so much told you had to. It's just well, I'm on this side, so I got to do this. It's like,
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
But okay.
Bosnia had 3 factions. Serb nationals wanted to carve out a greater Serbia.
Okay.
Okay, and they were willing to besiege all these cities and villages to do it.
Right.
Then there were Croat nationalists that wanted a greater Croatia. In parts of Bosnia.
Well, sure.
And there's Bosniak Muslims who were basically caught in the middle fighting for multi-ethnic Bosnia.
Right.
Okay. These alliances shifted like some weird soap opera plot.
Soap opera.
But the Bosniaks and the Croats, initially allies against the Serbs, ended up fighting each other for about a year. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, let's not do that.
Let's not do that.
Let's not do that.
Yeah.
So it was like they couldn't even make up like who the enemy was.
Right. Yeah, no kidding.
So the Sarajevians, Sarajevos,
It sounds like Navajos. Sarajevos.
They actually developed some kind of weird dark humor during all of this as like a coping mechanism.
Well, I mean, you've known me for a while. I typically use dark humor all the time, especially in this. I mean, I've never been in this setting, but you know what I mean? Like something you shouldn't do it in, but you do.
Yeah.
Because it's a coping thing. So, yeah, I get that.
So they kind of thought it in the way of, if we don't laugh, we're going to cry.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So there was one example of the Miss Besieged Sarajevo beauty pageant held in a basement in May of 1993.
Okay.
While shells fell outside, a group of Sarajevian women organized a full-on beauty contest underground, complete with an audience of locals, of UN peacekeepers, of journalists,
really?
Packed into like a makeshift bunker turned ballroom.
That's fucked up. Wow.
The contestants dolled up as best they could with a little mascara and maybe a little rouge, and paraded to cheers and flashlight spotlights.
Okay.
And at the end, the winner, who was a 17-year-old,
Zlata?
They had a handwritten banner for the cameras because there were journalists there.
Yeah.
And it read, "Don't let them kill us."
Oh, shit. I mean, I bet they really didn't want to die.
No.
But isn't it sad you had to write that on a fucking sign? Mm-hmm. Good Lord. That's wild.
So there is a U2 song. The band U2.
I'm very familiar. Do you know where
Some people might not be.
Do you know where they're from?
Milwaukee.
What the fuck?
I don't know. When you ask me, do you know where they're from? It's probably somewhere close to us.
Ireland?
Okay. Well, they have a song called Miss Sarajevo.
Miss Sarajevo? Who's the singer?
Dave Matthews?
Bono? Dave Matthews?
He has his own band.
Yeah, it's the Dave Matthews Band.
Sarajevians often joked about the UNPRO.
The what?
The UNPRO. UNPRO. They were the United Nations Protection Force.
Oh. Okay.
The peacekeepers who had the bright blue helmets, they actually nicknamed the Smurfs.
Did they have a Papa Smurf and a Smurfette?
They nicked them the Smurfs, yes, because of their blue helmets, but also because they were small in number, and they were kind of useless.
Smurfs are not useless. Brainy Smurf knew a lot of shit.
One joke went around that a UN soldier's to-do list in Sarajevo said, number 1, duck incoming fire.
Yep.
Number 2, hand out food.
Oh, okay.
Number 3, take a coffee break.
Coffee break?
Mm-hmm. Number 4, get yelled at by locals for not stopping the war.
Oh, I mean, okay. I mean, you can't blame them for wanting the war to stop. So, all right. Wow. Okay.
So it wasn't until late 1995 that decisive action was starting to take place.
Right.
It's kind of crazy how long it's lasted, but
yeah, no kidding.
Zlata does kind of note deliveries of the humanitarian aid and gratitude. She knew enough to write about politics and the situation,
right.
but she didn't quite understand politics, right?
Well, no, I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand politics. It's just how with all the fucking nuance and everything that goes on with it, and all the tomfoolery that also all those fucking people do. It's like, how can you understand it?
Yeah.
Unless you're in it.
Yeah.
And I know I'm speaking very generally, and I'm talking about myself, not other people. Some people might have a handle on it. I fucking don't.
So Zlata said later after this whole thing, she says, quote, "There is no hope for anyone because the politicians ruined what had been a model place for all different people to live together."
Well,
end quote.
There you go.
But Sarajevo's spirit wasn't broken.
Fuck no.
Under siege, the city had this booming underground culture. Mm-hmm. They had secret schools, concerts by candlelight, and even like these little satirical theaters, which would kind of make fun at the wartime absurdities.
Sure.
Parents tried to shield their kids from the hate. In the multi-ethnic families, they taught children to be very proud of who they are, what their heritage is, even as extremists outside could literally kill them for it.
It's just so sad they had to go through this.
Yes. So, of course, it's impossible to talk about Zlata's diary and not mention Anne Frank and her diary.
Well, I mean, she was inspired by it.
There have been comparisons made between the two.
Okay.
Like, they're both writers in their diary. They're both young. They're both hiding. Mm-hmm. They both named their diary.
Do you remember, or did you come across what Anne Frank named her diary? I guess
Kitty.
Kitty. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry if you said that earlier. But,
no, I didn't.
Okay, I didn't. I guess I don't ever recall that. No idea.
So, the version I read, she did not have Kitty.
Oh.
As part of the diary. I don't know why they would remove that out of the publication.
Yeah, that's weird.
But her actual diary had Dear Kitty.
Oh, that's odd, though.
Yeah, I don't know why my version... Anyway.
I was just curious, and I'm glad that was part of your research, or at least memory.
Yeah, but... and both diaries kind of chronicle this loss of childhood, in a sense, right?
Yep. Sorry,
but
I had to stretch. My back is killing me.
But at one point, Zlata does say, quote, "Some people compare me with Anne Frank. That frightens me, Mimi. I don't want to suffer her fate," end quote.
So, why did people compare her? Just because she wrote in a diary? That's literally it?
She wrote in a diary during wartime as a child.
And so people like, hey, Anne Frank did that.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So Zlata's personal war kind of ended around 1993. So the war went on to 95.
Okay.
But Zlata's kind of ended around 93.
Is that when she expanded, not just...
She was evacuated from Sarajevo with the help of the United Nations.
Gotcha.
By then, she was about 13 years old, and she had filled her diary with 2 years' worth of these wartime memories.
Well, yeah, fuck, that's a long fucking time.
The fighting was still raging, but foreign journalists and humanitarian groups had found out about Zlata's writings.
Okay.
And so parts of her diary were published.
Without her knowledge?
No, they got her permission.
I'm just making sure because that would be a real dick move.
They printed about 45 pages to raise awareness for UNICEF.
Okay.
But reporters would visit Zlata's family.
That's wild.
Dodging snipers to get there, essentially, Christ. To interview her. So
that is fucking dedication.
There was a French humanitarian group that arranged for Zlata and her family to get out.
Okay.
So they got them out onto a UN plane bound straight for Paris just before Christmas in 93.
Okay.
She did have to leave behind her grandparents, which she would try to visit when she was able to.
Right.
They didn't live too far away, but far enough that it was unsafe to go often.
Gotcha.
She managed to grab her teddy bears in her diary.
Aw.
In her flea.
Vesper would definitely grab her stuffies.
Yeah.
As she calls them,
So, in Paris, her diary was published in France. It became an instant bestseller. Stop it.
I'm sorry. I just need more oxygen to the brain.
She became an instant bestseller. It topped France's nonfiction charts, and publishing rights were snatched up by other publishers in a dozen countries.
Okay.
So when Zlata's diary came out in...
What?
I thought you were yawning again.
No, I'm just... Sorry.
We're almost done.
I get that. And I'm not complaining. I'm not saying anything. I need to stand up.
We're almost done.
I know.
Okay. So...
We got this.
Zlata's diary came out in English in 94.
Okay.
Zlata did a press tour, media interviews, and she basically wanted to publish this.
Right.
So she could help the children of Sarajevo.
Sarajevo?
Yes.
Sorry.
After a year in Paris, Zlata's family moved to Dublin, Ireland.
Hey, where are you two's from?
Zlata grew up to become a human rights activist and author.
Okay.
She eventually graduated from university. She studied at Oxford and the Dublin's Trinity College.
Look at her go.
Mm-hmm. Zlata's diary itself remains a widely read memoir.
Okay.
That is assigned in schools.
What's the name of it?
Zlata's diary.
That's literally all it's called?
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of this. But I also, again, I was, like I said, I'm a year older than her. So I suppose by the time it would have gotten to schools or stuff, I was out of that shit or past whatever age, I guess. But, okay.
So the Sarajevo that was left behind was slowly rebuilt.
Okay.
The siege was lifted in February of 96.
Wow. Jesus Christ.
Over 10,000 people died in Sarajevo alone.
Right.
And 1,600 of them were children.
Fuck, that's a lot.
They reopened schools, theaters, cafes, and try to knit all these multicultural families back together.
Sure.
Bosnia and
Herzegovina
is at peace.
Thank God. That would suck.
The war's aftermath is still a little bit complicated. There were war crime trials.
Oh, boy.
But there is organizations like the War Childhood Museum in Sarajevo, which now preserve the memories of the children who endured the conflict.
And who, made it through that shit.
Mm-hmm. So war in this case was not just about the generals and the battles.
Mm-hmm.
It was about families cowering in basements.
Right.
Kids riding by candlelight. Friends saying goodbye at funerals. Ethnic hatred turned neighbors into targets. Wow. And international politics turned a local crisis into years of suffering.
Wild. Okay.
One of Zlata's own diary entries near the end of her book captures kind of a bittersweet note as she prepares to leave her town.
Okay.
She addresses her diary one last time, and she wills for hope and for peace and to protect her friends that she had to leave behind.
That's just so sad because, having to leave your friends behind like they did is just I don't know. It's hard for me to grasp it because I've never had to go through anything anywhere remotely similar.
Yeah.
But leaving friends behind like that and shit is just fucking wild.
Yeah. Because
of the war-torn people.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So Yugoslavia officially dissolved.
Yeah.
On June 5th, 2006.
Wow, not until then?
I knew of Yugoslavia.
So do I.
And now it's not even a thing anymore.
No. And it's funny because I guess I don't know the time frame in my life, but I always knew about Yugoslavia.
Mm-hmm.
Yugoslavia, and then now there's no I remember that vaguely, not well, But, and that's why I knew like Bosnia Herzegovina and Sarajevo and all that. But yeah, I think, it was years after that fact, but this is also many years ago now. I'm like, Yugoslavia is not a thing anymore?
Yeah.
It's like, holy fuck.
So when Montenegro, which is another little republic, declared its independence, that was around 2006.
Okay.
And it effectively ended the state union of Serbia and Montenegro, which was part of the Federal Republic of Yugoslavia.
Right, yeah.
So they were the last ones to be like, okay, we want to be independent too. So now there is no Yugoslavia.
So that was like the last thread holding on to Yugoslavia.
Yes,
okay,
exactly.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Wow.
So that is the story of Zlata and the Yugoslav War in the early 90s. You made it through.
I'm sorry. I'm really warm.
It's really warm up here.
I don't know why it's so warm up here right now.
It's very warm.
That does not bode well for Bradley. When I get warm, I get tired and I fucking shut down. And I hate that. So I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It wasn't because I wasn't interested. I'm sorry about the occasional yawn.
It's okay.
It is really, why is it so warm up here? Seriously. But anyways, no,
okay.
That is...
it's a sad story.
It is a sad story, and that's really on track for our brand. So,
I was looking up happy stories earlier. I was like, no, that one sucks. No, that one sucks.
Happy story: Yugoslavia breaking up.
Okay, last thoughts on Pig Farmer.
I liked it. I
do too.
It's a pale ale. It's not like it's a pale ale that you actually can get behind because, again, it's not super pale ale-y.
Yeah.
It's maybe a bit more than like the Founders of what you like, the session, but it's not a ton.
Yeah.
No, I really enjoyed it though. I can't recall when I used to sell this if I've ever had this one, but whether I did, I forgot, and I apologize. But I really like it. It's really good.
Too.
I would definitely have some Dusterbeck's Pig Farmer again. So maybe we should go there one of these days again when you come to visit. And
sure,
it's not that far from where I live. And they got it's cool with the barn and stuff and so on, whatever. But yeah, I really like it. It's not bad at all. So
awesome.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yes.
Welp.
I suppose.
All right, buffoons. That's it for today's episode.
Buckle up because we've got another historical adventure waiting for you next time. Feeling hungry for more buffoonery? Or maybe you have a burning question or a wild historical theory for us to explore?
Hit us up on social media. We're History Buffoons Podcast on YouTube, X, Instagram, and Facebook. You can also email us at historybuffoonspodcast@gmail.com. We are Bradley and Kate. Music by Corey Akers.
Follow us wherever you get your podcasts and turn those notifications on to stay in the loop.
Until next time, stay curious and don't forget to rate and review us.
Remember, the buffoonery never stops.